On January the 26th, 2015, a conference to commemorate 20 years of diplomatic relations between Vietnam and the United States took place in Hanoi. The event was jointly organized by the Diplomatic Academy of Vietnam and the United States Embassy in Hanoi, along with some other think tanks. The conference attracted the participation of more than 100 delegates, including veteran diplomats, scholars, and government officials of both countries. The participants reviewed the solid development of bilateral relations over the past 20 years, especially the establishment of the Comprehensive Partnership in 2013.
Trong 20 năm qua là quan hệ hai nước phát triển rất là tốt trên tất cả các mặt về chính trị, kinh tế, văn hóa và nhân dân. Có những điểm mà chúng tôi cũng không tưởng được, ví dụ như là quan hệ đối tác toàn diện giữa hai nước. Trong tương lai tôi nghĩ là quan hệ hai nước sẽ còn phát triển hơn nữa, có thể là vượt xa cái thời kỳ mà chúng ta đang có hiện nay. Và nếu mà Mỹ mà trở thành nước số 1 đầu tư ở Việt Nam và thương mại Việt Nam thì đúng là quá tốt đẹp.
Since 2005, the United States has been the biggest export market to Vietnam. Bilateral trade has constantly grown by an average of around 20% annually in recent years, exceeding $29 billion in 2013. The United States is also among 10 biggest foreign investors in Vietnam, with total registered investment capital of nearly $11 billion by the end of 2014. Apart from business, the United States is also an important partner of Vietnam in many other fields, such as education, science, and defense.
I actually said 5 years ago that we would sustain a strategic relationship by this time. And I think we're very near that at this time, where every aspect of the two countries has melted together, and they're working together in a cooperative and a compassionate way.
The recent conference is considered the start of a series of events held in 2015 to celebrate the 20th anniversary of normalizing diplomatic relations between the two countries. Also this year, the two sides aim to finish negotiations and sign on the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, or TPP. The deal is expected to create another breakthrough in business ties between the two countries, with the United States likely to become the top foreign investor in Vietnam in the coming years. Hello and welcome to Sharing Vietnam. Vietnam and the United States are organizing many significant activities this year to celebrate 20 years of normalizing diplomatic relations, which have become stronger than ever. And in our program today, we'll have a conversation with Mr. Ted Osius, the United States Ambassador to Vietnam. He will share with us his vision of the development of bilateral relations in the coming years and his own personal experience of the Lunar New Year or Tết holiday in Vietnam. So, hello, Mr. Ambassador. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Vietnam and the United States have just organized a major conference on 2 decades of normalizing diplomatic relations. So, what do you think of the importance of the conference?
Well, it was a wonderful conference. We had people like Le Van Bang and Ambassador Pete Peterson, who were the first ambassadors from the United States to Vietnam and from Vietnam to the United States. They were there, they talked about the early days in the relationship, and Pete Peterson was my boss in Vietnam, and a wonderful boss and a wonderful person to learn from. Mike Mahalik, one of my predecessors, was here. Each of those ambassadors contributed in important ways to our relationship. But what I loved about the conference was that we didn't just talk about the last 20 years, we talked about what we might do together in the next 20 years and all the opportunities to make our relationship deeper and richer and make sure that it's long-lasting. So we talked about deepening our educational ties and what it means to have students visit and work and learn in each other's countries. And we talked about how we can deepen our commercial ties and our security ties. And we talked about how we can work together in the fields of environment, science, technology, and health, and also governance. So there were a lot of great ideas that emerged not just talking about the past, but talking about the future and what we can do to make a closer relationship in the future.
Well, as far as I know, the United States Embassy in Vietnam will organize many events in all provinces and cities in Vietnam in order to celebrate the anniversary of normalizing diplomatic relations this year. So could you just reveal some major events to be organized?
Well, for example, we'll have a big celebration in July, which is the exact anniversary of 20th of when we normalized our diplomatic relations. But we had the conference that you mentioned last month, a big Tet celebration this month. We'll have celebrations in all 63 provinces. Some of the celebrations will be bigger, some will be smaller. I won't be able to go to all 63 provinces this year, but I want to go to all 63 provinces during the time that I have as ambassador. And I think we'll have many exciting events in Ho Chi Minh City, in Da Nang, in Hue. We're traveling to Hue and Da Nang next week. And we'll have many opportunities, I know, to get to Mien Chum, Mien Bac, Mien Nam, and celebrate this 20th anniversary.
And what is your vision of the development of bilateral relations in the coming years?
Well, I think we have a tremendous amount in common. We share many values. Both of our peoples work hard and value education and value their families. So I think we can have a much closer relationship in the future. When you look at how far we've come in the last 20 years and start to think about what kind of relationship we can have in the next 20 years, there's enormous potential. The United States supports a strong, prosperous, independent Vietnam that respects the rule of law and human rights. And we believe in Vietnam's success. And we believe that Vietnam's success is good for the people of Vietnam and good for the people of the United States and good for the people of the world.
Just before the Lunar New Year holiday or Tet in early 2015, Ambassador Theodosius visited the Vietnam Museum of Ethnology in Hanoi. The place is home to dozens of thousands of cultural items of all 54 ethnic groups in Vietnam. According to TripAdvisor, a leading American travel website, the museum was ranked at number 4 out of 25 most attractive places of its kind in Asia last year. The United States ambassador and his spouse, along with some members of the embassy, spent the afternoon touring the museum and listening to the introduction of distinctive cultural features of different ethnic groups in Vietnam. He also learned about the connection between the culture of Vietnam and nearly countries in the Southeast Asia exhibition area. Ambassador Theodosius is one of the first American diplomats to have worked in Vietnam since the normalization of diplomatic relations. Mr. Rosius showed his interest in exploring the land and the people of Vietnam as he cycled across Vietnam from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh City in 1997. Mr. Ambassador, I know that you cycled across Vietnam nearly 20 years ago, and today you visited the Museum of Ethnology of Vietnam. So what is your impression of the culture of Vietnam?
I experienced that before when I was able to travel all over the country, but I think there's so much more to learn about the culture. So we learned today about 54 ethnic groups that live in Vietnam, and we were able to see some of the architecture from different parts of Vietnam and the art from different parts of Vietnam. And what it makes me want to do is visit all 63 provinces while we're here.
And Mr. Ambassador, what can you say about a major feature of the culture in Vietnam?
Well, I think that's diversity. It's fascinating to look at this museum. You can look at Vietnam's diverse culture through its art, its architecture, its textiles, through the differences among the different ethnic groups and what they look like, through the clothing. You actually can experience a little bit about all of the 63 provinces in one place here in Hanoi. So I find it very impressive, but it makes me even more excited to visit parts of Vietnam that I haven't been to yet.
Well, Vietnamese people are celebrating the Lunar New Year holiday or Tết. What is your personal experience of the holiday in Vietnam?
Well, I've always liked the bánh chưng. I think the bánh chưng is really good, and I learned now you can eat it fried as well as just regular, and it's very good that way. So I had it for breakfast this morning. But I also like what it symbolizes, the relationship, quan hệ giữa trời và đất và người, and the fact that it was Hung Vuong who, there was this contest, and 18 princes each had to come up with a great dish. And this was a brilliant idea because it uses simple ingredients in a very special but very meaningful dish. And so I love that symbolism, and I love the fact that Tet celebrates respect for parents and for grandparents, and that on day 3 of Tet, children or students will go to their teachers' homes. And I love the blossoms, the pink blossoms in the north and the yellow blossoms in the south. And I think it's a wonderful part of Vietnam's tradition, the Tet celebration.
Okay, sure. And could you reveal a little bit about your plan for the coming Tết holiday in Vietnam?
Well, we're going to cook some bánh chưng.
Okay.
And yes, we're going to cook some bánh chưng in the house. And we're also, we've picked some trees, some kumquat trees. We've already chosen the trees. And I hope later to plant some trees, maybe at a university, because I've been told that Bác Hồ, that Ho Chi Minh planted trees at the time of Tet, and I would like to show my respect for these traditions. We will do some traveling. We're going to travel to Hoi An, which is a very beautiful place, and we will spend some time with our friends in Hanoi as well.
And Mr. Ambassador, could you deliver a New Year wish to the audiences of Vietnam?
Tôi có thể chúc mừng quý vị và các bạn một năm mới rất là vui vẻ, hạnh phúc, sức khỏe và thành công. Và tôi cũng muốn ước muốn là một năm rất là đặc biệt cho quan hệ giữa Hoa Kỳ và Việt Nam.
Well, Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much for joining us today. I wish you a lot of joy and happiness during the Lunar New Year holiday and for the success in 2015.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, that's all for our Sharing Vietnam today. Hopefully, the relations between the United States and Vietnam will see further success in the next 20 years for peace and prosperity of the two countries and the whole Asia-Pacific region. Thank you so much for watching us, and see you again next time.